Well, good morning, people. This morning I am at one of Gorilla Ground's favorite places on the planet. I have spent the last 6, maybe 7 weeks engaging paramotor training salespeople and providers. I took myself up to Lorran Michaels at Four Winds PPG, and I said, Lorran, let's work on me getting better at maneuvering in and out of the vertical. And you know what Lorran had me work on? Takeoffs and landings. It's a pretty interesting story.
About it, how I want to just slow it down a little bit on the turnaround. This is that paraglider launch, where we just bring it up and quickly turn. This leaves us vulnerable for a frontal of the wing had you not got up and got going as quick. Had you stumbled, stepped in a gopher hole, anything. So this did not look bad. I'm just really nitpicking the small things.
See, that's what I want. I don't want an apology for that. I want to dial those things in. So let me ask you something. You know, one of the things that you hear all the time is, well, one of the reasons we don't like guys to self-train or to kite even before they come to school is that's a mess. Look at that. Holy smokes. Is we don't want to have to spend so much time undoing your bad habits.
Yeah.
Am I that guy, or are we talking about subtle refinements here?
Subtle refinements. And I don't encourage people to not ground handle before coming to class. If they've got the means to get a hold of an old wing that's not worth flying or whatever,
right.
and just beat it up in the field, I don't care about bad habits. In my opinion, anytime you can get a hold of the risers,
You're learning.
You're learning something.
I agree.
You are learning something, and somehow. We'll fix the bad habits when you get here. Yeah, there's no wrongdoing.
So let's talk about the guy that maybe he trained with you.
Okay.
3 or 4 years goes by. He hasn't seen an instructor in a while. His skills continued to increase after he left here because he gained experience,
but chances are he's gotten sloppy. His fundamentals, his foundation has probably weakened. We all do.
Okay.
We all do. I'm guilty of it.
All right.
Like I said, every once in a while, I like to catch myself on a video.
So that's why you got to come back and see Lorran.
I catch myself on a video and I pick it apart. I'm like, oh, look at that.
Yeah,
I could have been standing up straighter. I could have been leaning back more. My hands were too low again. Got to bring them back up. And without being able to see yourself on camera or have somebody watch you and explain what's going on, you won't know.
Yep. And that's what, you know, I on the social media side of PPG, guys post stuff and they get torn apart. And yeah, you gotta be a little bit thick-skinned about this. I mean, I'm coming here to do this because I know I make mistakes.
Okay. So you found the stall point with that left.
That's
that left brake.
Incredible.
He debriefed about 8 or 9 takeoffs and landings, and then I had an incident. I stalled the wing on takeoff, trying to do what Lorran had asked me to do without first understanding that my brakes were totally misadjusted. So a little background story: when I bought the Charger, the brakes were very, very long, and I shortened them. But the Colorado rolls better, so much better, in fact, that I didn't even notice that the brakes needed to be shortened on the Colorado also. So now that we got that straightened out, things are better. So my hat's off to Lorran. What I really want Lorran to do is develop a curriculum for people to come down and get some recurrent training and recurring training. After I left Lorran's, we went to Wauchula, and what was happening in Wauchula was a real interesting dynamic. There was 5 very good instructors and a class of 6 students And those 6 students got to glean what they could from each of the instructors. And I got to hang out with the instructors some and discuss what has become my burden, my passion for the future of paramotor training. Oh, look at these pigs. Rick Davies, are these your pigs? I think I may have scared them out of the woods. They're wild boars. Suey. 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 Am I doing that right, Rick? Suey. Suey. We talked about a curriculum for recurrent training, a curriculum for pre-season refreshery training, whatever it is you want to call it. And Lorran said, I want guys to come down for 6 days. And I said, Lorran, you can't expect a guy in his 50s to come down here, do 9 takeoffs in the morning, 9 takeoffs at night, kite all day for 6 straight days. You're going to kill these guys. And after 2 days of that level of physical activity, especially if the guy's been unable to fly for 5 or 6 months because of the weather, he's not going to retain anything beyond that. That's exactly the reason I asked Ron Torin the question about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I really encourage all you instructors out there to get a copy of Jeff Goins' book and get your head into the book and the concepts in that book and make this vision of recurrent pilot training for existing paramotor pilots a reality. Well, Jeff Goins recently published his book on instruction. It's a flight instructor's handbook, if you will, for paramotor instructors. And I highly suggest, if you're a paramotor instructor, that you get it and read it. It has to be the equivalent of what the PPG Bible is to the flight training manuals that the FAA put out for general aviation. Certainly Jeff's publication on flight instruction has to mimic the certified flight instructor written documentation. It amazes me some of the things that are taken for granted by paramotor instructors that are not rooted in the science of education. The concept of recurrent training or refreshery training or skills enhancement training is either non-existent or relatively new in the paramotoring world. It's something that I would really like to see take root and become more mainstream. For several years now, as we embark on the new flying season, the Palm Bay fly-in or Wings Over Winter or whatever springtime event fly-in that you want to name is a venue that draws a lot of pilots from the north, and many of these pilots haven't flown in a long time. It shows in their takeoffs, in their landings, in their gear prep state, in their pre-flight inspection process. And all of that could be addressed with some recurrent refreshery training. They'd definitely be safer pilots. This year in Florida, we've already seen a couple injuries and some near drownings and other instances of bad things happening where maybe some refreshery training prior to those events or prior to those attempts would have mitigated some of the problems.
I wonder if you can hear me. Concentrated. I hope he comes to land right here. Get out of his seat. Yeah, he's going to come right here. Here he comes. Get him out of his seat. All right, he's out of his seat. Coming in, motors off. Adjusting. And here he comes. Beautiful, nice landing, Todd. Yeah. Yeah. That's a professional right there, folks.